Okay, so I have leveled up to, I think it was level 7. Let's take a look. I've taken some time out to level up to level 7 because I don't want all of my commentary on the psychological appeals of this game just to be done while I'm down at levels 1, 2 and 3 where some of the content hasn't even appeared in the game yet. Okay, so I'm heading up to Bleak Falls Barrow, which is the first major sort of mission in the game as part of the story campaign. And as we get up here, well, an important issue that gets raised right away is the fact that we are entering the freezing cold, and you can actually run around in the freezing cold in this game and never ever actually get cold. So that's another example of that thing I was talking about, where the game presents the notion of danger, it gives the appearances of danger, such as coldness, but actually there isn't much danger at all. Ah, good shot. Come on.
You'll be so much easier to rob when you're dead.
Yay. Well, thankfully, because I'm on level 7, I'm doing a fair bit better. Hey, where is this fucker? See, even this guy is running around with no top on. It's supposed to be ice cold. So it's ice cold in appearances only.
You picked a bad time to get lost, friend.
Okay. And you know, ease of existence, you know, actually getting a load of iron ore out of the ground would take, well, I mean, I'm no expert on mining, but I don't assume that you could get enough iron ore out of the ground within about like 8 or 9 seconds. So, you know, this game gives us the ability to do things incredibly easily, which in real life would take a lot of effort, a lot of practice, and probably a lot of knowledge. And yeah, that is one of the definite appeals of Skyrim and loads of other games. It's the fantasy of living in a world where many of the complex or mundane tasks of our existence are made suddenly a hell of a lot easier. Really go for it on the impression of cold in this game. Icy blizzards, you can see little sort of brushes of snow going up the hill. You can hear the cold winds, and yet you do not actually feel any fucking cold whatsoever in this game. It's funny, it's always struck me as an odd thing that it feels like this game should have a cold mechanic in the gameplay, so that you do better going up in these mountains wearing certain types of clothing or armour. Let's try a bit of sparks and a shield. Okay to you. Not gonna poison me. Come on, fucking dead. Oh, there, defeated. Big fuck off giant. Defeated giant frostbite spider in legendary mode. And look how ugly this fucker is up close. Ugh, look at the hairs. Horrible hairs on its legs. Yuck. I like the way its head is almost like has a humanoid type of skull.
Get me down.
Now if I remember, this prick just plays games with us, so we'll just kill him.
Coming loose. That's what it feels.
That's right. We've got his golden claw. Now I think this whole issue of the undead in this game raises some issues, and typical issues that are common among zombie fantasy genres, whether it's horror or whether it's fantasy gaming like this. And that is that the presence of the undead carries with it a fantasy. I don't want to step in this trap, do I? See that? That's a trap. It carries with it a fantasy that an immortality fantasy, the idea that death isn't the end. As Stanley Kubrick said regarding The Shining, and I'm paraphrasing here, I can't remember the exact words, but he said something along the lines that if you can believe in ghosts, then it means that death isn't the end, it isn't just oblivion, and that there's something to look forward to, some sort of afterlife. Even if it's a horrific one, for a lot of people that's preferable to the absolute oblivion of death being totally the end. So ghost stories and zombie stories and so on tend to carry with them a fantasy of immortality. Put that shield on. No, slaughtering me. Oh, just fucking kill them. Ha 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 ha. Fuck you. Ah, well done. Oh yeah, I was talking about the appeals of the undead in various fantasy forms. And I talked about the thing about immortality, the notion that death isn't the end, and how that appeals to us, even if it's presented in a horror story. Sorry, I'm drinking a cup of tea here as I'm narrating this. Well, the other side of this is that one of the appeals that I believe that is carried with the undead is the prospect that, well, the undead are extremely stupid compared to the rest of us, you know? They are so unbelievably stupid and basic in their mentality that they're easy to defeat. So I think that appeals. I'm sure there's something up here. Yeah, chest. It's funny, the kind of setup we have with this. This kind of reminds me of the beginning of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. You know, where he enters and there's all these traps. But the traps are basically, they're not there to actually stop you. They are tests to see whether you are worthy. They are there to challenge you but not defeat you. I mean, if the people who made this temple didn't want anybody to go in and steal what was there, they could have just sealed the whole damn thing off and made it so nobody could get in. So clearly all these traps and stuff are set up as a test challenge, and that's it. It's not actually there to prevent you from getting anywhere. So I'm going to have to run through here. Can't remember if it makes any difference whether which body part you hit them. Okay, now let's get the flames on the go. Oh! That worked. Pretty cool. Keep them distracted. Level 10. Yes! Can't believe we beat this motherfucker on Legendary. Now, from what I recall, once you complete a dungeon in this game, typically the dungeon is set up so that you don't have to spend forever travelling back through the dungeon to get back out. And instead, the people who created the dungeons have set up all these traps to stop people getting in, and they've usually set up an easy way to get out which is convenient for gameplay but doesn't make much sense in logical terms. Oh, nice. Now, that's something else, that a lot of the landscape kind of looks the same everywhere you go. It's just rocks and grass and trees and some mud almost everywhere you go in this game. It still looks very nice, but there's not a lot of variety. And there's this thing done which is typical of most games as far as I can tell, is that the most interesting map areas, the parts that have got the most attention to detail, tend to be the parts that are associated with the main quest. So we've just completed a main quest mission through that dungeon. It was our first dungeon, and so outside where the dungeon ejects us back into the world, we get the skeletons of mammoths and some blood on the floor to make the area look a little bit more intricate and like there's more going on. Whereas other areas in the world, a super colourful tree which shouldn't look that way, but a mod fucked it up. Other areas of the world that are not associated with any particular quest tend to look kind of bland. Is there something on this island? Oh yeah, well, I suppose we've got one en route. I met somebody once who actually told me that he'd found every single piece of en route in the game, and I was like, whoa, that's dedication. So anyway, yeah, this thing about you sort of climbing around, wandering, climbing up mountains and looking over areas that you haven't been to, and then, oh, what's that place there? I think this urge to explore new physical terrain that we've never been to before is a strong element of the human condition that often goes unfulfilled in the modern world. We tend to live lives that are kind of restricted geographically to certain areas, and we like to explore new and interesting places to see what kind of resources are there, to see whether those places are the types of places we might live in, and so on. The urge to explore new terrain is a strong motive for us in real life, and hence it's a strong motive for us in open world games. Did I pick a perk? Pick a perk. Oh yeah, I wanted to get my destruction level up so I can get dual casting. I think we have to give the dragonstone to that shopkeeper and his golden claw. Oh no, the dragonstone goes to the magician.
I've been looking for you. Got something I'm supposed to deliver. Your hands only.
You've got to be the best courier in the world. If you can find me wandering around in the whole land of Skyrim, then you're doing very well.
Farengar, you need to come at once. A dragon's been sighted nearby. You should come too.
Oh yes, thank you.
How exciting.
I like the way you look, very ugly and scary, but are very posh at the same time.
More seriously if I were you.
Is it attacking the watchtower?
No, my lord. It was just circling overhead when I left.
If you look up close, you can tell that there isn't a guy's jaw moving around underneath that.
Good work, son. We'll take it from here. Head down to the barracks for some food and rest. You've earned it. Irleth, you'd better gather some
Heard
guards.
they're
when you get
reforming
down
the
there.
Dawn Guard.
I've
Vampire
already
hunters
ordered my men to
in the
muster
old
in the
fort near
main.
Riften.
You're not supposed to interrupt when the king is having a chat about fucking dragons and
There's no
whatever.
time to stand on ceremony, my friend. I need your help again.
You ever met one of them cats? Khajiit, they call themselves.
Right, so I'm in a quicksilver mine in the small town of Dawnstar, and something I think is worth bringing up about this is this whole idea about digging for resources, like digging literally in the ground, is something that is kind of pretty much lost in our lives these days. You know, throughout history, human beings have dug in the ground through rocks and so on in order to find resources. This is something that's missing from our lives now. It gets done for us by industry, but most of us hardly ever in our lives ever have to dig into the physical ground for anything. And I just wonder whether that urge to go around digging things out of the ground that are useful to us, whether that's something that is somehow cognitively built into the human psyche. What's he digging into? There's something on that wall. You're digging, what the fuck all there, mate? Now there used to be a cheat in the game. I think it was fixed in Skyrim Special Edition, where there was a secret stash. Let's see if it's still here. It was always around this part. It's probably been removed in the Special Edition. Hey! Haha! It's still here. I can search this chest and steal shitloads of stuff. This is a cheat. I'm going to do it anyway as soon as this guy looks the other way. Oh, what's in the cart there? Anything I can collect?
I mostly deal with petty thievery and drunken brawls.
Not expert thievery that is done by people who fall outside of the limited AI of the game. Right, so we can just steal all kinds of shit here. This is a chest that belongs to a Khajiit caravan, and you can just steal everything from it. It's definitely a cheat in the game, but I'm going to do it anyway. Oh, that's a good one. A lot of stuff. There's so much stuff there here that you can take that it's easy to run out of. Do these things even get tagged as stolen? No, they don't. Haha! So I can even sell these things. If I really wanted a challenge in this game, then I would not do this. But this makes things so much easier, because to collect all of this stuff through a normal playthrough would take fucking ages to find all this kind of stuff, but doing this gets me ahead easily. Thank you, sir. Now I can go in here, collect some iron ore. By the way, that issue of cheating by finding a chest or reading about one online, a hidden chest that is kind of like a cheat. I think the game makers intended for those chests to be findable. They could have placed them, those are the Khajiit chests and they're hidden. And those chests could have been placed in positions where they were not accessible via cheating. And there's 3 of those chests that have been found by players, unless the people who made the game announced the positions of the chests. But finding exploits in the game is part of the gameplay itself. Just like in life, we often look for exploits. People look for tax loopholes where they can make more money and pay less money to the government. People look for all kinds of financial loopholes. They look for ways to get a little bit more out of every situation, and especially if it involves taking a little something extra away from either the government or a corporation. People are hell of a lot more willing to do that generally than they are against other average people in the street. At least I think that's the case. Elven armor we need. Ooh, takes it up to 44. Right, okay, so here we are leaving Whiterun, the centre city of the map. I'm going to head over there for this story part of the mission, where we get our first fight, direct fight with a dragon.
Like he's been here. I know it looks bad. We've got to figure out what happened, and if that dragon is still skulking around somewhere.
Okay, Chief.
Spread out and look for survivors.
Hey, there we go. Fucking hell. Run away, as they say it. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Oh! No! Oh, fucking hell. Bastard. Oh, fucking cunt. Killed you, you fucker.
I can't believe it. You're Dragonborn. In the very oldest tales, back from when there were still dragons in Skyrim, the Dragonborn would slay dragons and steal their power.
Here's a dead dragon, and that's something I definitely understand. Now we know we can kill it, but I don't...
Okay, so this is something I personally don't really like about this game. I know it drives the story forward, but we have this with a lot of fantasy stories where the protagonist has a fate that is sort of unavoidable. You know, it's a positive fate of becoming the strongest or the greatest or the ruler of the land or whatever. And I don't know, it just defeats, for me it defeats the supposed achievement, it defeats the supposed achievement point of beating the game. You know, if you are destined as part of the game narrative to just be the best and the most powerful, then it's almost like the game is just dragging you along for that ride rather than you achieving it yourself. So, you know, it takes away from the sense of individuality. I mean, what if you decide in this game that you don't want to be the Dragonborn, you want to do something else? You just want to live off the land, or what if you just want to be a thief who, you know, goes around and does thievery and nothing else? I prefer that the game give you that kind of choice. I mean, you can do that stuff, but the main story is a fate story where the protagonist is just dragged along and has no choice, and any sense of personal achievements is taken away by the fact that there's a legend that says you will be the greatest. So that's something I particularly don't like in this and other fantasy stories. Okay, so now I'm making my way to the part of the mountains where I can travel up to the very top. And way up there, the very top of this mountain, can't even see it there, but we will encounter some sort of wizards at the top of Mount High Hrothgar, or whatever the hell it's called. And great emphasis on verticality, imposing cliffs and stuff, Valley of the Shadow of Death. And this mission to get to the top of the mountain is, I guess it's sort of a rite of passage, really.
On your way up the 7,000 steps again, Clement?
Now, I have to speak to this guy.
On your way to High Hrothgar, about to make a mostly food supply. The Greybeards tend not to get out much, if you catch my meaning. Trouble is, my legs aren't what they used to be, and climbing the 7,000 steps takes its toll. Here, take this bag of supplies. At the top of the steps, you'll see the offering chest. Just leave the bag inside, and you're done.
Okay. Enemies up here. So on our way up this mountain, you know, heading high up to the highest peak in the whole land. And you know, it's funny how we humans have this thing about travelling upwards to high places, literally high places. And we associated that with moving towards great spiritual transcendence. And that's what we're doing up here. We're going up here to meet the most spiritual people in the land. I've forgotten what their names are, but they're the ones who know how to do the dragon shouts. What's this prick want? Is he going to want to fight?
Keep an eye out for wolves if you're headed up the path to High Hrothgar.
High Hrothgar, okay.
Aye.
Aye, yeah. Excuse me, I think I'm getting allergy to the pine trees up here. Excuse me again. Now, if you ever heard of something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it involves... we've got to kill this thing. Maslow's hierarchy of needs involves... Hey, it's stuck. Let's go. Right, so as I was saying, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a sort of psychological model that talks about our base needs in life being the raw physical needs at the bottom, as the bottom layer of a pyramid. And as you move up the pyramid, you get other types of needs. Once your base immediate physical needs are met, you know, food and water and shelter, you move up to issues like security, wanting to know that those same base physical needs are going to be met into the near future and in the distant future. And as you get further up, you start getting into things like social status and things like that. And when you get to the top, according to Maslow's system, at the peak of that pyramid is the desire for spiritual enlightenment or transcendence, whatever you want to call it. And so Maslow's hierarchy of needs fits with what we have represented by this high mountain in SKYRIM, where as you go up the mountain, you eventually get to the spiritual place. And along the way we have various tests, physical fight tests. Initially we had the spider, now we're going to have this thing. We just had an ice wraith. And I think one of the last challenges we get up there is a troll, which is very tough to beat. So let's get on with this. Holy shit, he's tough. So yeah, a bit of a challenge getting up this mountain. Thank God I've got a follower, otherwise I'd be fucked. Oh, don't put me all the fucking way back down here, arseholes. Oh, you fucking scumbags. I was too busy talking about going up the mountain and not saving as we went along, so I have to do this again. Hey, I want to get the stuff off your body. Come on. Okay, over now. Hey, Lydia, where'd you go? Lydia! Lydia, where the fuck are you? Hey. You're hiding in the bushes. You scared? Were you actually scared to fight then? Don't get stuck. Alright. So yeah, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But here, you know, the old traditional thing of the challenge, the spiritual challenge, you have to overcome a load of hurdles to reach the spiritual place. And ironically, a lot of those hurdles are physical. In other words, if you become extremely efficient in this physical realm, then you can reach the spiritual heights. And that fits with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now there's a funny plot hole here as well. The guy who said to us, oh, can you carry this bag of stuff up to the top for us? That guy had no armour and no weapons. How did he make it up these 7,000 steps on a regular basis without getting killed by all these creatures? So clearly the creatures are here to challenge us, not to just challenge anybody who tries to travel up the mountain. Now when I had this game all modded, there was tons of extra enemies to fight on the way up here. Look, the flame astronaut doesn't know where the hell it's going. Get over here. It's taking forever. I'll have to make another flame astronaut now anyway. Because Troll is around this corner, I'm pretty sure. Now if I can sneak in an arrow shot. So much for the surprise attack. Let's get that bow on the go and capture its soul. As usual, shoot it in the arse. There you go. So I think that's the last major challenge, physical fight challenge, getting up here. It's weird that cold isn't actually a survival issue in this game. But cold is there sort of symbolically, you know, you make it up this mountain and you get into a more and more physically hostile place. Very few creatures can live up here, only certain ones that have evolved to adapt to this area. Come on Lydia, where are you? And, you know, that, I mean, I know, yeah, of course real mountains get colder higher up, but that's part of the physical challenge, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. As you get further up the mountain, not only do you have to fight against various creatures, but you have to contend with the extreme cold hostile to organic life. Except in this game, we have 100% resistance to cold from day one. I personally felt that this game sends you to almost to the very top of the mountain a bit too early in the game. I would have liked for this mountain to have been a lot harder to make it up. Like you have to progress to like level 50 or something before you're powerful enough to defeat the creatures on the way up here. But they send you right up here very early. But you know, your character is godlike from the very beginning of this game in various ways, which I don't think I've talked about yet in this video, but we'll come back to that. And you just become even more godlike as you go along. Right, we have to put some stuff in here. What the hell was it we had to? The supplies. Alright, so here we are at, what the hell is this place called? High Hrothgar. High Hrothgar. Now, I'd said in the previous part of this video, get out of my face, I'm just blocking my view. I'd said in the previous part of this video that magic in this game tends to be very colourful compared to the rest of the world. And yet we have this High Hrothgar, which is like probably the most magical place in the whole game. It's got these high priests here who are going to teach us how to use dragon shouts, and yet the place is, you know, it's monochrome. There's no colour, so the casting of spells in the game tends to involve a lot of colourful sparkles and, well, sort of laser type things, like that. But this bastion of magic is the opposite. It's uncolourful. In fact, it's virtually black and white. There's not even any browns in this thing, really. And along with the actual design of the place, which has a kind of an architecture that appears to have purpose, but we don't know exactly what that purpose is. I mean, what's that design up there? It doesn't look like anything in particular, but it's symmetrical. Maybe we might be able to sort of see a dragon face in there, I don't know. So I like the purposeful architecture in which the meanings or the purposes, oh look, there's another design. The meanings or the purposes of the architecture are not clear, suggesting, you know, hidden knowledge. And look at the door design as well. You know, I do like these things. Vague meaning, vague purpose suggests that there is knowledge here that we don't understand. And also the very dark, thick blocks of well, I don't know if it's concrete or whatever that kind of stone this is. It doesn't look like natural stone because it's so dark, but it's all big chunky slabs, solid, so this place is unshakable. Not the type of place you could imagine crumbling, you know, a bit like the pyramids, you know, made with those huge blocks. These blocks aren't as big as that, but you know, you get my gist. And so yeah, I do really like the design of this place. Alright, so we're getting to an important story element here, where we are going to meet these guys who are these high priests. I can't remember what the name of these people are, but they are going to teach us all about dragon shouts, and they're going to go on and on about us being the Dragonborn, you know, and we were basically godlike when we started the game, and they are just going to enhance that. Okay, so let's have a listen to what they got to say.
So, a Dragonborn appears at this moment in the turning of the age. We will see if you truly have the gift. Show us, Dragonborn. Let us taste of your voice.
Okay then. You ready?
Dragonborn, it is you. Welcome to High
Is that it?
Hrothgar.
That's all I had to do. Okay.
I am Master Ager. I speak for the Greybeards. Now, tell me, Dragonborn, why have you come here? We are honored to welcome a Dragonborn to High Hrothgar. We will do our best to teach you how to use your gift in fulfillment of your destiny.
Oh, thank you. Now, this is one of the things I hate about destiny logic in this game and other games that have that destiny plot element. It's like, oh, you are the Dragonborn. Well, why is there only one? Why can't there be different Dragonborns at different times? Just because there's some legend that says, oh, there will be the Dragonborn, only one of them, and everyone just fucking believes the legend. You know, why can't there be many? How do they know that the scriptures or whatever are true? You know, I just find all that very silly. But then we get that kind of thing in real life with religious belief systems, and it's one of the reasons I don't go for institutional religious beliefs myself. Okay, let's see what he's got to say.
That is for you to discover. We can show you the way, but not your destination. You have shown that you are Dragonborn. You have the inborn gift. But do you have the discipline and temperament to follow the path laid out for you?
So you're still waffling. What if I just run away to a different part of the building? Will they just talk as if I'm still there?
Force to focus your thumb more sharply.
And Lydia's just like, well, what the hell's going on here? Why is my master visiting these old guys? She hasn't got a clue.
You learn a new word like a master. You truly do have the gift. Initiation, Master Einard will allow you to tap into his understanding of Ro.
Ro. See the colourful magic then?
Now, let us see how quickly.
How it looks even more colourful being in this mostly monochrome environment.
Use your unrelenting force shout to strike the targets as they appear.
Okay. Right, are we ready? Row, row, row your boat.
Force, go!
He did say row, didn't he? Crap
Well
joke.
done. Again. Force, go!
Was that good enough? No, don't get close to me. I want to kiss you.
quickly.
I want to kiss you.
Once more.
Oh, get away. Sorry, I didn't mean that, Chief.
Your thumb.
Do you look exactly the same as the other one?
Show great promise, Dragon.
Do you all look exactly
We will
the same?
perform your next trial in the courtyard. Follow
You do, actually.
Master Bori.
They all look exactly the same. Okay, before we follow this guy, let me just mention that, you know, we've got, as I said about the design of this place, appearing to have a lot of purpose, and but it's vague purpose. Well, I also like the fact that these guys' outfits are the same. They have all kinds of little details. Can't really see it too well here. We'll see better outside. Let's go out there. Yeah, these guys, their outfits look very much like the building. You know, Hey, what the hell's going on? Who hit me? Yeah, look at the outfit. Very much like the building itself. It makes these guys look like they are physically rock solid. But also the lack of colour in this place. Oh, I need to learn this way the power, don't I?
Within yourself before you can project it into a thum.
Do I get to learn this word? There we go.
Approach Master Bori and he will...
Yeah, in a minute. Just let me... I'm trying to talk to the audience of this gaming experience here. Can you guys just pause a minute? Yeah, the lack of colour in the building itself, I think, helps make the place look really ancient. You know, that's... I don't know why. I don't know why it makes it look so ancient. You know, it makes it look completely dead. Almost like the whole thing is like a gravestone, you know? And it's so dead, there isn't even any moss on it. Not, well, you wouldn't get moss on a building up at this height with these temperatures. Right, so I have to do this trick here, don't I? Whirlwind Spirit.
Stand next to me.
Okay.
Master Bori will open the gate. Use your whirlwind sprint to pass through before it closes.
Look at the strange gate as well. Why have it shaped like that? Is that like dragon's teeth or something? Haha, surprise. No, sorry, Lydia, you lost that race. You were too slow. Far too slow, woman. Right. Do I have to do that again or what?
Your quick mastery of a new thum is astonishing. I'd heard the story.
Well, Thum's up for that.
Dragonborn, but to see it for myself.
So later in the game, much later, we get up there and meet some sort of a dragon dude or something. That was my new unrelenting force power. You just heard as I went through that door. Right. Okay, now remember I said a little while ago that this place, its physical design is kind of like just a giant gravestone or tombstone. Well, I just noticed as well that there is actually a gravestone of sorts just here. Read that, blah 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 blah. And you know, death, spirituality, and it's funny, these gravestones are almost like doorways as well. That's unusual. But there were also several of these things on the path on the way up here. So it was always, as we were travelling up this mountain, it was always like we were travelling into the dimension, the afterlife, you know, the travelling beyond physical life and towards death and the spirituality that exists there afterwards. Anyway, what I wanted to do now was get away from a lot of the stuff we've been talking about and go back to Whiterun to discuss another subject that I find incredibly interesting about this game.
There's a nip in the air. Cold won't be good for my crops. Never is.
Oh, but that sounded like the cold won't be good for your crops. That sounded like a euphemism. Anyway, since we're going to be exploring the subject of children in the game, I think they're off asleep in houses or wherever they go to sleep. So we shall sleep and then go out and meet some of the kids and explore some of the interesting aspects of their role in the game. Okay, kids, where are you? They will be around here somewhere. I think there's sometimes a homeless one up here. This is it. Yeah, this one's homeless.
Mister, could you spare a coin? Oh, thank you. Divines, bless your kind heart.
Ah, now we have the option to adopt a child in this game. This is where things get very fascinating in terms of our motivations as gamers.
Really? Do you have a place I could live? Oh, well, thanks anyway, I suppose.
Yeah, okay. Well, it tugs on your heartstrings, doesn't it? Poor homeless kid. Alright, so all of the kids in this game, there are some boys around somewhere. I think the king's son is in the castle. But all the boys and girls in this game are generally around this same age. which looks to me to be around age 10 to 12. Ah, okay, we found another one. Yeah, another girl.
What are you looking at?
Yeah,
I'm
shut
not
up.
afraid of you, you know, even if you are my elder.
That's because you are invincible in the game, young child. Okay, so all the kids in this game are roughly aged 10 to 12, which is a prepubescent age. So they are non-sexualized, and the girls, they're heavily clothed as well. Whereas in real life, kids aged 10 to 12 usually have pop star role models and stuff, and girls especially between ages 10 and 12 can often dress very sexual based upon their pop star role models, or based on other things. I don't know, maybe their sexual awareness is kicking in earlier than puberty actually does. In fact, that's definitely a fact. I mean, any sort of psychologist will tell you that kids are capable of sexual feelings before puberty. But appropriately, the game plays that completely down. I think the main reason why the kids are aged 10 to 12 in this game is because you can adopt a kid. You cannot have a biological kid of your own in this game. Now, to have a biological kid would involve a baby stage, a toddler stage. It would involve feeding the kid and changing nappies, or diapers as you Americans call them. All the hardcore physical parenting, having to feed them all the time, prepare meals, put them to sleep at night and all that kind of stuff. That's all gone because these kids are aged 10 to 12. Now, a kid who's aged 10 to 12, if they've been raised reasonably well, is quite capable of looking after themselves. They can prepare their own meals, they can dress themselves, they can bath themselves. You never have to bath your kid in this game. Of course, that would interfere with the non-sexualization of kids, because if you had to bath kids yourself in this game, it would involve those kids being naked, and you would see it as the player, and that would be kind of deemed inappropriate. Not that I believe that anybody who plays this game who hurts a child in this game by attacking them with a sword, not that you can hurt them, we'll get into that in a minute, but anyone who plays this game who happens to hurt a child, or if the kids were sexualized in the game, I don't think it would make any players inclined to do that in real life. But we humans have child abuse, both in terms of violence and sexual abuse, as being absolute no-go areas socially. That's a behavioural norm that we maintain, and part of the way that we do that is by having what we call appropriateness. So in this game world, we maintain that because it's an absolute no-no. It's pretty interesting, really, because in real life, murder is a no-no. Murder is something that we absolutely generally should not do, and it's a criminal offence. You can do life for it, and yet in these games we can kill people, but we can't kill kids. And we can't do anything that is sexually abusive. Actually, we can't do anything sexually abusive to kids or adults in this game. There's not generally any rape in this game. That's another interesting issue. We have the women who generally have a sort of physically attractive physique, but they tend to be overclothed, and there are never any rape issues in this game. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? But there's a hell of a lot of killing. It's funny how we, in media, fictional media, whether it's games or movies, showing murder of adults is generally like, yeah, okay, that happens. It's okay to show that. But rape is something which we are much less inclined to show. Even though we live in this game in a brutal, violent, almost Neanderthal world. You know, a lot of caveman instincts are here in this world, a lot of testosterone, and yet there is no rape, not even in any of the stories in the game, none of the side quests. At no point in the plot can I recall there being any kind of rape elements anywhere, not even towards adults. So it's definitely not going to be there with the kids. Is that a boy and a girl down there, or two girls? There's two girls. I don't know where the boys have gone. So back to the subject of the ages of the kids. By having them aged 10 to 12, we are able to be a neglectful parent in this game, because you can adopt a kid, let them live in your house, and the kids who... Yeah, you keep saying that. The kids who you adopt in this game, because they've been homeless, they're already good at surviving. They've been able to find food, find a place to sleep, presumably find somewhere to wash themselves. So because they're already capable of those very basic physical survival needs, we don't have to be a real parent to them in the game, not even in the basic physical sense. So you can have a kid, you can put them in this home here, and you can just leave them there, and they will never run away, no matter how neglectful you are. You can leave and go on missions for months and come back, or even a year in the game time, and the kid will not have aged, and they won't complain much that you've been gone. They might complain. I think there is a mechanic where they complain that you haven't been around much, but all you have to do is give them a toy, or a child's doll, or a toy sword, or I think you can play a game of tag with them or something like that, and then they're happy then, and they don't complain for a couple of weeks. And that's like the most lame parenting you can imagine. However, imagine if in this game, if you could adopt a child that was a baby or a toddler, or maybe a 6-year-old, or you could even have a biological child of your own. And the biological child thing, you feel much more connection yourself than you do to an adopted kid. Of course, there are some parents who adopt kids who make better parents than biological parents in a lot of cases. But if you could adopt a kid of your own from a very young age,
what are you looking at?
And you could put them in your home. Yeah, you said you could come in. Get out, child. I haven't adopted you. If you could have, like, say, a baby or a toddler in your house. Oh, I've adopted one. And you just leave them here, and they're crawling around or walking around, and you disappear for months in the game going on missions, and then you come back, and the kid is just, like, still wandering around. It would bring the parental neglect element to the forefront, and it would then be consciously be very in your face in it, and I think the player would feel bad, like, oh, you know, I've got this kid, and this baby or this toddler, I've just left them here to just wander around. They got no one to look after them, and so on. It would just be such a blatant issue of parental neglect, and in order to make that work, we'd have to have all kinds of changes in the game mechanics. You'd have to get, say, Lydia or somebody else to be a nanny to the kid, which would also be a form of neglect if you weren't doing much parenting yourself. You would have to have mechanics like, I don't know, washing them and feeding them and all that kind of stuff. It just wouldn't work. So we hardly ever get video games that involve the actual raising of children. But Skyrim has gone for the adopt-a-kid thing, which is also very unusual in games. And I think that's the key reason for the 10 to 12 age range. It allows you to be a neglectful parent in this game without the neglect being too obvious. Also, we don't have teenagers anywhere in this game. There's no 14-year-old boys, 16-year-old girls, anything like that. Again, the issue of sexuality would become quite blurred on that one. What if you had 16-year-old girls in this game? And also the issue of violence. I mean, you cannot physically harm the kids in this game, but what kind of rules would apply to a teenager? If you had teenagers in the game, say age 15, say a 15-year-old boy, should you be able to kill that 15-year-old like you can murder any adult in the game? Or should that teenager be subjected to the same immortality, invulnerability rules that the 10 to 12-year-old children have got going on? And should those teenagers be able to fight? Should they be able to be companions who fight with you? By companions, I don't mean lovers, I mean just like a travelling fighting companion. So yeah, I mean, this game, in terms of the ages of characters, kids up to the age of 10 don't exist in this game, and kids between, say, the age of 12 and 18 don't exist in this game. So you are either a 10 or 12-year-old kid in this game, or you are an adult aged 18 and upwards to, I don't know, 90 years old, however the oldest person in this is in this game. So all that is really interesting. Also, the kids in this game, as I said, they're invulnerable. Now let's go and see what happens when we go and attack the kids. They cannot be harmed. They can run away, they can cower, they can whimper and complain that they're being attacked. But they cannot be physically harmed. Now, if I remember rightly, I was experimenting with this once, and it turns out that if I use magic on a kid, like a fireball, it has no effect. It doesn't even trigger the guards into attacking me. So that seems to be an oversight in how the game is designed concerning kids. But if I grab a sword and attack this kid, see, her health doesn't go down, there's no blood, there's no injury, and I get attacked instantly by the guards because I attacked the kid. So you know, the game does give consequences. If you're brutal to kids, you will be attacked by the guards, but yet you can shoot fireballs at them, and it makes no difference. So that's kind of interesting, isn't it? So yeah, in a nutshell, we can adopt a kid in this game, but we adopt them in the form of that they are basically like a pet, and we get to be neglectful. We are almost completely devoid of responsibility in this game for our kids. They never age. It's just a really interesting aspect of this game that is unusual. I can't remember any other games that I've ever played where you can adopt a child. And I'd be interested to see if other games did have that mechanic, how they would handle it in terms of the morality, in terms of the ages of the kids, and so on. Right, I think that's about it for this episode. I have to finish up now. If you want more studies on video games, film analysis, anything like that, do subscribe and check out my website, collativelearning.com. There's plenty of stuff there, and there will be more episodes of this particular study of Skyrim. So yeah, give your feedback in the comments in the section below, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.